Okey-doke.
Okay.
I'm gonna get all the papers out. I'm gonna go down, I'll get them out.
Well, the gang's all here.
Hot in here.
Pardon?
It's hot in here.
You want me to turn the camera on
Some jobs you wanted me to do?
before we start?
Not yet. I will look tonight, though.
Well, call me, you have my phone number.
Ready? We're on record.
All right, I'll call the meeting to order. The Village of Mount Sterling Council meeting for June 10th, 2019. Roll call, please.
David.
Here.
Mike.
Here.
Marcy.
Here.
Becky.
Here.
Lowell.
Yes, I'm
Craig.
here.
Here.
All in attendance.
Thank you very much. Mr. Blankenship, would you like to deliver prayer?
Yes, sir, thank you.
Thank you.
Let's agree together. Our God in heaven, we thank you, Lord, for the great blessing and privilege of being able to pray. Lord, we know how important prayer is in our life and in our village. We're to pray in times of adversity, lest we become faithless and unbelieving. We are to pray in times of prosperity, lest we become boastful and proud. We are to pray in times of danger, lest we become fearful and doubting. And we're supposed to pray in times of security, lest we become self-sufficient. Without you, we can be nothing or do nothing. And Father, remind us that we can never pray for someone and hate them at the same time. Bless this meeting, give us wisdom. In Christ's name, amen.
Thank you very much. Please remain standing for the pledge. I
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you all. Be seated. Before you have the minutes from the May 23rd Finance Work Session, and you have in front of you the June 3rd Special Council meeting. I need a motion to approve the minutes of those meetings. Thank you. A second?
I'll second it.
Thank you.
Lowell second.
Vote.
David.
Yes.
Mike.
Yes.
Marcy.
Yes.
Becky.
Yes.
Lowell.
Yes.
Craig.
Yes.
Okay, give me just a second here,
Okay.
and then I will pass around to capture your signatures. If you please.
And, excuse me, while we're doing that, the mayor's report, the only report I really have is, of course, the Summer Jam this weekend, which we're all excited about. We will be closing the streets off tomorrow afternoon
Wednesday.
to give the, at 6 o'clock, tomorrow at 6 o'clock, to give the amusement company plenty of time to set up, because we do have a lot of stuff coming into town as far as rides, games, food, vendors. I understand we're going to have quite a few vendors. So it's going to be an exciting time for everybody in the community. The next thing is, we almost have the pothole issue finalized. We're waiting on 2 more bids. And as soon as we get them, we'll present them to you for your approval as quickly as we can, so we can get on that project as soon as possible. I apologize for the time that it took, the procedure that we had to follow, the amount of work that's involved is a lot more than we really anticipated. Once we got down to going in every street and every alley in town, it's been neglected, it seems like, for a number of years, and there's a lot to make up. And we're going to try to do it soon, very soon. And that's all I have at this time. President Pro Tem.
First, though, I'd like to thank everybody that turned out for the opening of Timmons Way. We had 71 in attendance. We can't thank those men enough that all fought in WW2. They were that great generation, and I don't think we'll ever see anything like that again. I just was reading about the 75th anniversary of D-Day, and the average age of those men that hit the beaches were 18 to 20. They're very young, but yet they had something that had to get done. They got it done. And also, we're getting a lot of talks about the potholes, and I know the mayor and I and Brandon and Courtney are working on that, and eventually we're going to get into them potholes, and that's all I have to report, sir.
Okay, thank you. That leads us into public comments. If you have a public comment, you need to stand, tell me your name and your address. You're required to live in the village of Mount Sterling to make public comments at this council meeting. Okay. Yes, sir.
Jonathan Norwold, I live over on Market Street. Did I miss anything?
No, you're good.
Introducing myself, okay. And I just want to say, just to kind of relieve my own personal nervousness here, that I'm going to object to something I already talked about, or I had someone talk about it at a previous council meeting. But we're all friends. I want good things for the village. I'm already inspired by the couple of things you guys talked about, fixing potholes and the festivities and so on. So I just want to thank you all for what you do. And even if we disagree, that's
Well,
fine.
thank you very much for that.
That's very nice.
All right, so I think you probably all heard my concerns. I emailed them, and I wasn't able to attend the last meeting, and I regret that the recording malfunctioned, so I wasn't able to hear the responses. But my brother was here. He tried to relate to the best of his ability what he heard. Based on the fact that I wasn't here, am I allowed to ask, like, yes or no, who's in favor of Hammer Time coming into town, or has any concerns? Is that something I can do?
We're not, there's no responses tonight.
Okay.
If individual council members want to talk to you off the record,
Okay.
that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, and that's fine. I'm not here to break any rules, so. So I just want to respond to some of the things that my brother said, that responses that he got. First of all, there seems to be a sentiment that we need more businesses here, and that any new business, this is probably an overgeneralization, not what you're saying, but any new business is good for Mount Sterling. I'm sure all of you could think of businesses we don't want here. So there's probably boundaries there. And personally, I don't think that we need businesses that are, and I'm not saying anything about Hammer Time, I'm just saying in general, we don't need things that are mediocre. We need unique things that'll draw people into the town. I have a real heart for that, and that's certainly something I want to see come through, that I'm not just objecting to business. Secondly, from the impression I got at the last meeting, and along those lines, thank you to all the shops in town that meet that description. There have been a lot of wonderful businesses that have come in recently, and I'm thankful for that as well. So from the impression I got from the last meeting, it seems like my top two concerns, the noise level from bikers potentially coming through town, and potential for disturbances, studies that have linked violence to bars, which I know there's discussion over semantics on that, were somewhat marginalized. And I think the biggest topic was the parking. Which was not my top concern, so I just wanted to point that out, although the parking certainly aggravates the other two. From the sound of things, there was a lot of talk about Mr. Haven's grand plans of creating a family-friendly place. And I haven't talked to him, so it's entirely possible that that's something he's discussed with people. But I wanted to address this in a couple different ways. First of all, whether he plans to do family-friendly things during the day is somewhat irrelevant to my concern at nighttime. With the liquor at wee hours of the morning or late at night or what have you. I mean, my kids go to bed I'm not saying everybody has to be quiet at 8 o'clock or whatever, but my kids go to bed early. So secondly, I would challenge anyone who thinks that it will be a family-friendly place, which I could be wrong on this, but to look at his Facebook page for Doughboys, which is one of his other establishments. They are open till 2 a.m. There are no children in the photos anywhere. The environment looks very much like a bar. There's very few high-top tables. The bar is definitely the focal point from what I can tell. I don't have any problem with bikers, but they are featured prominently, so there's a lot of pictures where there's groups of bikes, there's pictures of signs that say bikers welcome. They advertise their poker runs. One of them is actually advertised in the window of the future Hammer Time location. So again, I would challenge anybody to look at that and say that's family friendly. So I hope he plans to do something different.
Okay, let me pause there for a second. I understand your concerns, but recently talking to Ohio Liquor Control, they have to resubmit.
Right.
And it's, I don't know, I can't really talk about an on investigation.
Right.
As you know, they put the wrong address.
Yep.
The most important part of a permit is the address. It was wrong. We caught it. They have to resubmit, and I can't talk about it
Yeah.
because it's an ongoing investigation. Probable, if they'd have stayed with the old address, it would have been on the November ballot, had he applied by August 6th. In all probability, the same will be for the current address.
Right.
So I understand your concerns, but he has to apply by August 6th and have it put on the November ballot. So,
So you're saying it's probably a moot point, which I actually got a message from Courtney saying the same thing, and I forgot to mention that at the beginning.
Right.
I almost didn't come for that reason.
Right.
But I figured that you should know, the full story of
Yeah.
what my concern was.
Yeah.
And I won't go on forever here, but I'm not gonna go through this, but I talked to people in town that had actually talked to Mr. Haven that confirmed some of what I'm saying.
right.
I can give you, that information if you want it. Someone else said that there's noise ordinances. I would question the ability to enforce those, especially if it's the vehicle that's coming in that's the issue. And I don't know, I don't want to fixate on that, but then someone else said that with the parking issue, what would you think if it was a church? Now, I go to a church that could potentially move to downtown Mount Sterling at some point. Whether we would is a different issue, but we've talked about it theoretically. And we've talked about the same thing. We probably would not come here for that reason.
Right.
And certainly more parking needs to be created, which I think.
Right, right. That was a concern of mine. But I think going on about this particular subject that you're on is, it's immaterial now. The voters will decide in November, and you have,
Yeah,
pardon?
I'll skip to the end, because there's one more piece of
Okay,
information that I
all right.
And I realized that this was probably gonna happen, so I'm trying to rush through it.
Okay,
So last detail that you should know is that I did go out and not knowing whether what you said was gonna happen and it was gonna be a moot point, I thought that it was a wet area, it wasn't gonna have to be on the ballot and
No.
so on. So thinking that, I went around and collected signatures just to see what people were, who was concerned about that. It was a Saturday, most people were gone, so I didn't get to talk to a huge amount of people, but I did talk to, I think I'm on the wrong page to get the numbers, but I talked to 23 people. 16 of those people expressed concern. 14 of them were willing to sign a petition basically asking for the license not to be given them.
yeah,
So just so you know that.
Yeah.
I have that information.
yeah, okay. They'd have to submit that to Ohio Liquor Control,
Okay.
because we're not involved in it anymore.
Well, so I do have a question
It's just a
about
couple
that.
days ago.
Okay,
My understanding from reading the Ohio Liquor Licenses own
Uh-huh.
information is that the only people that we cannot object as private citizens,
Right.
the only entities that can object are the churches as well as the village itself. So that's why I bring this to you, and if I'm wrong on that,
no, we cannot object. We can ask for a meeting
Okay,
about it, and we're limited to the types of questions that we can ask this particular permit holder or potential permit holder, and that's all we're allowed to do. So that's why I brought, we researched it to make sure that it was all done legal, and come to find out it wasn't. Now, in November, everyone in town's going to have a right to express their concerns or their, whatever they feel about it at the ballot box.
Yeah.
You know, I've talked to a lot of people. My job as mayor is to look out for the entire community. I want to see growth. But I have concerns about, just like you, I have concerns about parking. I have concerns about noise because there's apartments downtown, which is another concern.
I'm not even
We have apartments, and they create havoc when it comes to parking, because most families have 2 cars now. So I appreciate you coming, I really do, and we understand your concerns, but now it's up to the Ohio Liquor Control, and then it'll be up to the voting public of Mount Sterling in November.
Yep, okay, and that sounds great. Again, I almost didn't come, but
No, you're fine, you're fine.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? Okay, that leads us into Sheriff Department reports.
Just a couple things. Just want to remind drivers around town or commuting through town, it's summertime, kids are out. Doesn't matter if it's 6 in the morning, some kids are up, moving around. Pay attention to your surroundings, pay attention to the speed limit signs, and slow down. I've been talking with one of my bosses about doing some heavy enforcement, just to kind of get the word around, and that may be something coming real soon.
I've had several residents express they need children at play signs on some of the, as you well know, you're well aware, that the local business, manufacturers, industries, now we have the new one, they have shift change. And I know when I worked, come shift change, I was flying out the parking lot to go home. And we have some issues in town.
Here's what I always tell them when I stop them for speed. Do you have kids or grandkids? Yes. Would you like for me to come to your neighborhood and speed up and down your road?
Right,
And of course, the answer is always no.
right.
Well, these people don't like it either, is what I tell them.
So
The light, you can see the light bulb go on.
yeah, I'm going to talk to Brandon. I've already talked to him about some signs, but we're going to get some children at play signs just to remind people, because they're cutting through the side streets to stay off the main highway. They think it's going to be quicker. So, yeah, we're going to take care of that.
Hey, Jack, I'd like to bring up one thing, too. These cutting off side street, some of the residents, Jack, told me on New Street, about between 3:30 and 4:30, there's some speeding going on there, Jack.
On New Street?
Yeah, yes, sir.
Well, they're coming home,
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah,
and I bet you most of them have kids.
yeah, I agree with you, buddy, yeah.
Jack, do you issue several speeding tickets a month, like an average?
I couldn't tell you that right offhand.
But it's a lot? Yeah, good. I'll say if
But
you need,
it's gonna get a lot more very soon.
Okay, very good.
Yeah.
All righty.
And remember, the festival, it's outskirts of town now, you'll be going detoured around, so drive slow, there'll be kids walking around that.
Jack, do you think it'd be beneficial to invest, going through Grove City, you see those those speed limit things that flash at you if you're speeding? Is that beneficial, not beneficial, worth the money, not worth the money?
They help, but it's just like passing a cop car.
That's true.
As soon as they see it, they slow down. As soon as they get past it, they smash the gas. It's a good reminder to them,
At least get
It
them
is a
slowed
good
down for a
reminder.
minute.
I see London has one now.
but London's got
And my utility clerk had the literature, asked me what I thought about, she thought this was a great idea. But they're kind of pricey.
Oh, that's what I didn't know.
They're kind of pricey.
$2,500 each.
They are
The
pricey.
software that, like, gives you information on the speeding, how much where they're from and things.
Yeah, and it come
Slow
to,
down when we see them, come on.
it come up to like 5,000? Was that what we was going to have?
For two of them.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. it's embarrassing when you see your speed and you're like, whoa.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you very much. Law Director,
I have no report, Mayor.
you have no report. All righty. That'll bring me to my utilities clerk, Misty.
I just have a few things, but I was glad that you brought that, the sign up that flashes when you're speed. Just a silly question, but if I have it, maybe somebody else has. Does the village get any portion of the money from the tickets? Okay.
Very small portion. I think they get the actual fine, they don't get the court cost. What else do they get, Mark? It's not very much.
It's not much at all. No. It may be 10%.
Yeah.
Doesn't the county have one of those signs that they loan out to different communities?
We have one, but it doesn't, I don't think ours clocks speed. I think ours just flashes and tells you to slow down. Now, there might be such thing as if we can get London to loan us a few, because I know they've got a few of them.
Do they? I've seen them up there.
The information I have is like a buy one, get one, and no charge until a certain time. But anyway, they're nice. You can put them up on posts, you can put them up really high, but just an idea. So just about the bills, last month we billed about $115,000. We received in about a 111. Which left us a little bit of delinquency left over. It's kind of a rolling around 10%, under 10%, around there. We billed 120 this month. We have 27,000 in so far. We do have quite a few shutoffs, 13 to be exact, for tomorrow. And someone, we turned off a customer's water and they said that they didn't receive a notice. Again, the notices are just kind of an added bonus that we give to them. When it gets turned off, they know that it's getting, time for it to be shut off. We don't have to, correct me if I'm wrong, Mark, but by law, we don't have to give them a notice.
No.
And so someone was having an argument with me about we have to give them a notice for that. So Sue has been helping me, Sue Tender has been helping me, I really appreciate that. She has come in to work the office when I have a personal day or vacation. So I really appreciate that, but we've also talked about it, and we wanted to come in 2 days a month to work on delinquents. So we can get those down to not even dollars, my goal. So after billing, she's gonna come in every month as the time's approved. We already have allotment for that for this year. We have, like I said, 13 of them due to be shut off tomorrow. 47 accounts right now are past due. Around 30 of those, we either have a specific date that they're going to pay or the next payment that's going to be made from them. We had approximately 20 people this month move out or move across town. A lot more than I would have ever expected in a small town like this. Again, if they don't have a bill, it's still due. Don't ask your neighbor, talk to your neighbor, or that doesn't get you the amount. I've heard so many stories like I don't have my bill. I talk to my neighbor, they don't either. But that's what they say when I call them to get payment. So just give me a call. Email me, that works great. Let's see what else is there. People can pay through their bank pay online to make their payment. A lot of people they're not aware of that. They can call me with their credit card. It does cost $2.75 to do that. I do have a quote from Software Solutions, our billing system, to go with it with Brandon regarding putting the payments on our website, having them interface automatically into our billing system after credit cards accepted. We remote access, things along that nature. And that's about it.
Did you submit that to Brandon?
So I talked to him this evening and said, you know.
Okay.
give me a chance tomorrow. I said, yeah, there's a few other things we're going to go over.
Okay, because I was aware of, after last week, you know, the update that you want. You know, we'll talk about,
I want it, but we also need it.
yeah, we have to have it. Yeah, that's, our system we have now is prehistoric.
There's a
It's-
lot of manual things on there.
Yeah.
I mean, like, things that don't happen automatically, like the feast. You have to go in there and reset them, and there's just so many things that's done manual where, you know, a
Right.
phone system should do it on its own.
Yeah. Okay. All righty, is that it?
Yeah, that's it.
Okay. Village Administrator, Brandon.
Okay, here in the next upcoming weeks, we're gonna start working on trimming the brush back in alleys, getting some of that cut away, getting away from the stop signs, there's a few places where you can't see stop signs and stuff like that, so we're gonna be working on that. Also, we're gonna start working on painting curbs around town. You know, the yellow areas that are very dull and faded, we're gonna try to go around and brighten all those up, make them look pretty again. One thing I do want to hit on, I notice a lot of people have been, when they're cutting grass, they're blowing the grass clippings out in the streets. Pretty sure there is an ordinance against that. You know, that just plugs up catch basins, and then when we get heavy rains, which we've obviously had a lot of here lately, you know, it creates a problem. So if we could, you know, try to avoid blowing the grass out on the roads. Last week, we had a 6-inch water line break down on Chestnut Street. That was quite a challenge. We did get it fixed. Also, the mayor already commented on this, but road will be being closed from Dairy Freeze down to Larry's. So, and a couple of blocks on East and West Main Street. Last couple of things here, I'd like to thank Steve for doing a good job. Dennis, Jason, and Cody also. And this weekend, hopefully everybody comes out and enjoys the festival.
Me too. Very good. Thank you. And I do have a question for you that we talked about earlier. Last week, and this has happened before, when the freeway gets shut down, they're doing a lot of work, causes a lot of accidents. They get detoured through Mount Sterling. And we actually lost the mirror off of a pickup truck sitting over in a valid parking space, but there's no room. How soon we have to move those stop here signs back another car length? Because the trucks are much bigger now, and they can't make the turn. They're tearing our sidewalks up. I'm scared to death, instead of a mirror, that a child is going to stop out on the sidewalk, and a tandem wheels of a semi-truck is going to, if he's in a stroller, he hit the stroller. I'm scared to death that's going to happen on either one of these corners. So I just want to remind everybody, I know I talked about this before, and I talked to you about it. We're going to start, the reason we held off, we thought we was going to have a new highway. We thought we was going to have new blacktop. You know, that didn't work out. State of Ohio. So I want the stop here signs move back.
A question
And I need a
about that.
couple of trucks make wide turns for the new BST warehouse.
And we still do have that mirror, by the way, if somebody that lost it wants it.
It's not in very good shape, but
Yeah, last week it was bumper to bumper, though 71 was backed up clear to
well,
Jefferson.
I had to go out to get us some weed killer, and the traffic was backed up to Erie,
Yes,
and 60%, 70% of them was semis.
yeah.
They were going back on the freeway. Normally, they're coming this way. And they were lost and confused, and I pulled over one here by Market Street, and I said, "Where are you trying to go?" He said, "I'm trying to get back on 71." So I showed him how to get back to 71. He said, "You know, when they run you off of the freeway, they don't have signs up for people out of the state that don't know where they're at." So I understand, I drove a semi 15 years, so 20
I
years.
like what
so-
you brought up too, Mr. Mayor, is still that danger of some little ones too.
Yeah.
Because a lot of these are double trailers now too.
Yeah,
And
they're, yeah, doubles.
exactly.
They're running pigs through town. That's what they call double trailers, some of them. Yeah, they're running doubles too. You need to go, you need to go.
I have a question for you, Brandon. It's kind of in regards, I'm sorry?
Her. She has to go.
Right, I have a question
I'm
for
sorry,
Brandon.
okay.
Is that okay?
Yes.
Were you done? Okay.
Yes, yes.
As far as, parking has been addressed in different aspects of this meeting, and always seems to be addressed, because in this town, we have a parking problem. And I've been asking for a couple of years, different mayors, different village administrators, about the possibility of getting parking spaces marked off on at least London Street in front of all the downtown businesses, because you'll have people parking out front of businesses, and they're double parked, and you can't get a car behind them, and then it's hard to get in front of them. So if we had marked spaces, I think that would help a little bit. So, when you're doing these curbs and things, if there's any chance to do that, that would be, I know, appreciated by everybody downtown. And along with that, I had a question about, the stop here signs on the roads. Like, if you stop there, and I think most of the problem comes when people are making right turns. You stop there, but then you have to pull all the way up anyway to see if it's a red light even, to turn, you know what I mean? So you may, even if you move it back further, aren't you still going to have to pull up all the way to the other street to see if you can turn on a red light, for instance?
In that case, you would.
Okay.
If you want to turn right on a red light. Ideally, I've seen some communities put large convex, is that what they call a mirror? That shows, ideally, in the center of the intersection would be a large 4-foot, 5-foot mirror, and you can see around buildings. I've seen those in communities. And you can look up, and if no one's coming from London Street, you can pull on up and make a right turn. If you see a truck coming, then you stop here on red. So, I don't know, we've looked into all different ways, but they're not stopping here on red. They're simply not doing it,
Just not stopping first.
so.
And then also, another issue with downtown parking is, I believe on London Street, because I know there used to be 2 signs that say 2-hour parking. There's still one that exists, but do you know that if 2-hour parking, do you issue a lot of parking tickets for 2-hour violations? Because it is a rule downtown for these streets to be 2-hour parkings between certain.
It's not posted.
Well, there's one posted down here, right in front of Bishop. There's one for 2-hour, but the sign under it's been torn down where it tells between these hours, but it still does say 2-hour parking. There.
Well, I can't enforce it unless it's specific between which time periods. I can enforce it with the one sign, right in front of that sign, but that's it.
Doesn't that apply to that street? I mean, you don't have to have one in front of every parking spot.
No, but you've got to have it down the street where people can see them.
Okay, so we just need better signage.
Right. And they have to be regulation height, certain height, go to 7 foot to the bottom. So it's a process.
Yeah, I just, I know when I used to have a business down that way, sometimes people in the apartments would park out there. And if it's overnight, it's not a problem, but if it's during the day, it would limit your business from having any parking spaces. So it's just something that really needs addressed.
Back to your parking spots that you're wanting, we actually just ordered some parts for our paint sprayer.
Great.
And Courtney and I had looked at some stencils for parking spots, so, we can go back to that and possibly get those and we'll make them look nice. And
Great.
do it the right way.
Great. Thank you, both.
Okay. Fiscal officer, do you have a report?
I do.
Okay, okay.
Okay, I just want to let everybody know that the Village of West Jefferson has contacted me, or I've contacted them, and they are going to go ahead and start mosquito spraying on June the 17th. So everybody make a note of that. And also, I wanted to bring to council, which I've already brought to the Finance Committee today. There was a lady from the Madison County Jobs and Family Services that has reached out to me asking if the village would be in need of any summer help from the youth. And they had sent this letter that I can gladly pass around because this just came into me, here shortly. And what they're looking for is, basically the letter reads is, she is a youth coordinator that works with youth from 14 to 24. Every year they work to build up resumes, work skills, and gain employment for the summertime between May and August. And they are looking to see if the village may need any help for summer. And the good thing about this is the first thing that I had asked is, how are they gonna get paid for this? Actually, the Madison County Job and Family Services pays their payroll and any of their liability. So if they get hurt commuting back and forth, or they get hurt doing something, the liability is at Madison County. So they have asked and volunteered two students or youth to come help pick up trash, maybe pull weeds, do anything that's, kind of low maintenance to help out for the summer. And I will pass this around if you guys want to look at that. Billy, I'm not sure if you wanted to make a motion for that or.
I do. When she brought that to Brandon and I's attention, we had actually talked about hiring summer help because I feel when we sit up here and talk about our abatement committee, we should be an example, and some of our property is not. It's been neglected for some time around our village garage down there. It's terrible. We need to take care of our property, and it needs to look good. So we were talking about hiring some summer help, but she come up with these two that doesn't cost us anything, and Brandon and I highly recommend, I want a motion to call Jobs and Services. I don't know if you call it hiring them or what, but
There's a work
accepting,
release. Yeah.
okay.
So
But
your motion would be just for me to go ahead and contact them, and if those two students or youth are available, that they would have to come in and they would have to sign, a release. They included in that, Madison County takes care of all that. They would just sign a work release, for May and August, and then we would designate hours. Obviously, we would have to have some supervision of them, and I would assume, Brandon would
Yes,
make sure that happens,
he'll be oversight,
to make sure.
as
that-
well as me.
Yeah, and then I'm supposed to
So-
report to them, so it is
Thanks,
kind
Sam.
of like them gaining these skills for resumes and how to be a good, worker, because you do have to report every week back to this coordinator, this advisor, every week of what they're, are they not doing what they're supposed to be doing? Because if not, they will pull them. They said this is a skill that's offered free from Madison County to anybody, any local business, it says in here. Any local business in Madison County that would need to have this effort. And they do this just because they know that, hiring, especially a person of youth, you don't know what you're gonna expect because you don't have any job openings, but it's just something for the summer. And again, the great thing about it is that we don't have to pay them. They wouldn't be an actual employee, so none of those benefits that we offer our employees now would exist. My main concern is that if they did get hurt, who has that liability? So once this gets, whatever you guys decide to do for that, I will have something in writing that says that there's, that the liability does not fall back on the village. But again, we have liability if somebody walks in here and they fall, there's, that sort of coverage, so. I will be getting some information to pass along to you guys. And if there's any questions you guys have that you may want me to ask, feel free to let me know.
If you need a motion, I'll give you that
Yeah, Whatever
motion.
she said, I need a motion.
I'll give you
for
that
it.
motion.
Okay, second?
Yes.
Thank you. Vote?
David?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Lowell?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Okay. Just be looking forward to something in the email I'll be sending you guys.
Okay.
Okay, so next up is, Okay, my financials. If you guys want to pull those out. You received 2 reader reports that you have. And again, I don't know if you guys want me to read them or I can briefly talk about it. Okay, so one payment that was sent to the village on June the 3rd was $55,658.37, and this is the income tax that was collected. And the next one was on May the 14th, and that was for $12,101.32. And also, as a reminder, I want to remind everybody that there is a commission committee meeting that will be happening tomorrow at 10 o'clock. It is open to the public. Anybody is welcome.
See you tomorrow.
Public is welcome, but it's not ran like a council meeting, so you will not have a visitor comment, okay? So just to let everybody know.
Yeah, it's open to the public, but the
But to
public
only
can't
listen.
say anything.
Exactly.
But only to listen.
Yeah.
And again, topic of discussion will be, we are very close to hopefully getting out of physical emergency. We know that council and administration have a few things that we need to clear up as far as policies. We really did a great I don't want to say work session, but a finance committee meeting today. I think we got a lot of it covered, and I just want to thank everybody for, always responding and, being available to meet. So that's tomorrow at 10 o'clock, if anybody wants to come. The auditors, again, will also be with me all day tomorrow. So if there's any questions council members have, you can pass that along to me. Cash summary by fund. We are showing the general fund is at $448,000, which looks very good. All of these are in a positive, which is great. Also, with that said, the audit results have come back for 16 and 17. And there were some findings, which is not a surprise. I was not surprised on those findings. Just to kind of, display to the public. Most of those findings were the same findings that happened in our last audit. Those were, again, all of this audit findings, you can find it on the state auditor's website. It does have the full audit there, but also what I've talked about in our last work sessions is that there's going to probably be some money adjusting that we're going to have to be doing. So be looking forward to that. And again, that will all be discussed, yes, tomorrow with the auditors in here on how much that will be, how much the state's going to allow us to do. Okay, but we've already covered that in our meetings. Also, I wanted to state is that I was able to be in contact with the OWDA, which is who we have our water and sewer loans through. And I'm happy to announce that I was able to reduce that and close out some of those loans that we have that we were paying on the lump sum, but not paying on the amount that we used. So that's what we call balloon payments. So I was able to close those out and get our loan payment reduced, but again, only reduced to about $4,000. So it's not a significant change, but again, these loans will be in for the next 30 to 40 years. The comparison of budget and appropriated, again, all positive. Everything looks good. Anyone have any questions? And stop me if you guys have any questions. Okay, and again, the reports that you guys have right now are for the month of May, okay? Because I will be sending around the May bank reconciliation that has been balanced. So again, these reports that you're looking at will be a reflection of what's been totaled on the bank reconciliation. Again, payment listing for the month of May, as you can see, all of the usual, our electric, our testing, medical insurance, natural gas. And again, when you see these voids on here, that's kind of what I wanted to point out. When you see these voids on here, I was having problems with my printer. I think Craig has seen me shaking the ink cartridge about 100 times every time. So what happened is my checks would come out, but only the left side would be blank. So obviously I can't send those out to the vendors for payment. So I've had to void them and then reissue new checks. So that's why you see the same amount as a positive and then a negative amount on there. Because I had to void out those checks that I couldn't process. That's why you see so many on there. But I'm hoping to get a new printer from the state here very soon.
I'll go for that.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, Lowell's seen me do that a couple times too. Okay, so the receipt listing, as you can see, several payments received, like Misty announced earlier, of the sewer and the water payments. There's nothing, Rita, you're gonna see on there. We got our Madison County, which is our, our county check. That's it. Any questions on that? Okay, revenue status, this is as of May the 31st. And for the general fund, we're showing revenues at 56%, which is above what's expected or what was budgeted for where we're supposed to be at now. Any questions on that? Okay. Appropriation status, again, for the general, I know we kind of look at the same funds all the time. We're at 38% of expenditures. The street fund is about 30%. Let's see, the water is at a very low of 11%, but I have not paid bills, so just make sure that this is a reflection of bills not being sent out. And for the sewer is 19%. Good. Okay, and then on to the May and the April. Now, last time, I know, the April reconciliation, you guys did receive those reports for the April. There was a bit of a issue with me reconciling it due to a posting issue in the water department. Okay, so that's why you guys were not presented with the April one. And I advised, my finance department that, this got done right after we had our last meeting, so I couldn't present it to you guys. So I will be presenting to you April and May's bank reconciliation, if you guys can sign these, and I will pass them around. I think that's all that I have. I would just need you to have a motion to accept all my financial reports.
I'll give you the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, vote.
David?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Marcy? Yes. Becky?
Yes.
Lowell?
Yes?
And Craig?
Yes.
Again, these will be obviously discussed in the commission committee meeting tomorrow, that we are balanced. So I have accounted for every penny that goes through here, so
I think we'll do well, Courtney,
I
at the
know we
meeting.
will,
do.
yes.
We will.
Yeah, it should be a great meeting tomorrow. And again, we have active action on clearing these comments, so I hope that they can tell us when we can be removed out of physical emergency.
Very good.
And then I'll pass this around for you guys to obtain signatures too. And Billy, would you like to sign these as well when they come back around?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
You have to show me where to sign.
Yes, I'm done. Street closed,
I knew it.
and that's in round table.
Okay, I'll do it in round table. That runs us to committee reports, finance. Mr. Anderson.
Well, you've had the finance report. I don't have anything to add to that.
All righty. Pleasant Township.
I didn't attend the meeting because I was here Monday, so I have no report.
Okay. Here, Marcy gets it. Oh, Marcy already said.
That goes that.
Oh,
way.
Marcy goes, that's yours, Marcy. This goes back to Courtney.
Yep,
I'm sorry, squad meeting.
Squad meets June the 12th.
yep,
Where?
just on one of the guys.
Okay. That leads us to fire.
Yes, I attended their last meeting, and they're still working on trying to get all the specs ready to order the tanker. I guess there's a whole lot involved in doing that.
They gonna buy a new tanker? Are they?
Yeah. And they also talked about salaries, and there was an increase in some of the salaries. That's pretty much all that happened.
Very good. I don't need to sign this. I was gonna say, that's not enough signatures, is it?
Huh?
that enough
That's
signatures?
enough, yep, I was just counting.
That runs us to water, wastewater.
To me?
I don't know.
I think it's me.
I was looking for my
Okay.
paper that showed who was on committees.
We will have a meeting if necessary, I guess, on the fourth Tuesday, which I believe is the 25th.
Yes,
At 2:30?
yes.
Okay.
So is that for sure?
It is set, and if it's unnecessary, you'll get notice of it being canceled.
Very good. Okay, very good. That leads us to streets.
Yeah, Mayor, you said it best, it's about the pothole situation. We got to get some estimates, and I like the idea of having some signs for about the children. I think we need to get those signs up. I think it'd be
Yeah.
great to have. And wherever you want to have a meeting about the streets, I'll let you call the shop when you want to have it.
Okay, we're going to do the street signs as a project.
Okay.
I have 2-hour parking, no parking from here to the corner. I have trucks make wide turns, they requested on Main, children at play. So we're going to review the whole sign policy, the 2-hour parking. He's already left, but
Perfect.
it's important to the downtown businesses. It's important and it's frustrating because some of the downtown businesses park right in front of their business. So, how am I going to argue that? I know no one wants to see me take away parking spaces downtown, but I have to look at it, not that I don't sympathize, I realize we have parking issues, but I have safety concerns on these corners. Just takes a second for a kid to ride a bike out on the corner and a semi. Some of the semis, they don't stop. If they got a green light, they're flying around that corner.
Are we allowed to make that decision, or does it have to go through ODOT?
I think we can set that policy, ordinance by ordinance.
I
So-
think you might have the troubles with some speeding, changing speed limits.
Well, we're not trying to change it.
I understand.
Okay.
As far as where the
Yeah.
stop bar is at, I
Right.
think you'd be fine with that.
Yeah, I think we will. Okay, so the street department's going to be busy here in the next couple months. That takes us to Parks and Rec.
Yes.
I forget. Mike, right?
Yes. All right. We had a special meeting last week. We focused a lot on our movies that we've got coming up. I want to remind everybody, we are going to have movies June 29th, June 27th, and August 24th.
July 27th.
Did I say, yes?
Yeah.
June, July.
Yeah.
Yes. June 29th, July 27th, August 24th. Now, we were originally set with the B movie to be on June 29th, but I think we might flip-flop with that with the Lorax movie and have that on June 29th and the B movie on the 27th. That due to, we were wanting to do some things prior to the movie, have a Department of Forestry individual here to talk about importance of trees, how to plant the trees, what trees provide for us. I did some research on trying to find saplings. Turns out this time of year is almost impossible. But I did find in West Virginia, the Department of West Virginia Forestry had some that they were going to get rid of in the next couple of weeks. So we're going to have to get those and get them handed out quickly. So that's why we need to flip-flop the movies.
Where's the movies going to be at, Mike?
My understanding, it'll be right here on the front lawn.
Oh, on our front lawn here?
Yes.
Okay.
Seating, bring your own chair or blanket, sit out there. We're planning on having popcorn and water for sale, so there'll be something for you to, sit there
Yeah.
and eat and drink while you're watching the movie.
Yeah.
We do have our screen. We're still waiting to get our projector in, correct? I don't know if
Yes.
that's, okay. And the screen is, we might be looking at purchasing a inflatable screen, because the one we currently have,
I have no
I think I got a better
comment.
chance of figuring out the Rubik's
I have
Cube
no
than
comment.
putting that thing together.
We paid for it, but
It's pretty, yeah, it's a puzzle.
I understand. You have one.
Yeah, we've talked about,
Okay.
seeing if I can borrow it.
I was going to say, did they say anything about borrowing that? Because it's inflatable, right?
Yeah.
And so we wanted to borrow it to try it, and if it works well for you,
Oh, well, that's the way to approach that, yes.
I've found several online that were much, much cheaper than,
so.
This one's easy to set up. I mean,
Okay.
you pretty much just plug it in and stand back.
Oh, really?
Then you just tether it. So,
30 seconds, it's blown up
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's
ready to
good.
go. But,
So we'll
yeah.
put ours on the auction block if it works out well.
Yes. As far as, let's see, we also discussed the soccer's going to be coming up. There's going to be sign up for that at the festival.
Uh-huh.
So encourage everybody to come out and sign up for that. For
How
those
many
who
soccer
are,
fields do you have out there?
that I don't know.
I don't know. We're wanting to get a meeting with the youth
Oh.
to discuss all.
I think they're doing it from 4-year-old to 12-year-olds. is
So
what
how many
I-
fields, soccer
We
fields?
don't know.
You just make them in the middle of
Oh,
the grassy
okay,
areas. You just
okay.
paint them on.
Okay.
But we're going to do a little better job ensuring that we have our insurance, our contract, and background checks
Mhm.
in advance
Mhm.
for soccer than we did for
Yeah,
softball
yeah.
and baseball.
I
'Cause-
heard about that.
Yes. All right.
Very good. Very good. Record of retention.
No report.
No report, okay.
But we will have one soon.
Yes,
But
we'll
we will have one soon.
Yes.
Very good. Nuisance and abatement.
Yes, we had a meeting on the first Tuesday of the month at 2:30, and we're having another one the third Tuesday. We're having two a month right now because this, of course, is the busy season for nuisance and abatement issues. So on the 18th, there will be a meeting. We have two residents that are very active on our committee that are going out and helping, and as well as the council members. We are hoping, we want to invite our village administrator to our next meeting, and so we can bring you up to speed on our problem areas and, what we want to do. We're also requesting a meeting with the new sheriff. I know there's a new sheriff in London, so we were hoping, because there's just some confusion about the actual enforcement. We can write all the policies we want, and we can tag all the places we want, but if there's no enforcement on the law enforcement side of it, it's pretty ineffective. So we are hoping to meet with the new sheriff and sit down and just look at policies and see
Very good.
what we can do with that. So we welcome anyone else who's interested in helping beautify the community, come out and join us in those meetings. Everyone's input is appreciated. And if you do see any nuisance issues, we also ask you to call Town Hall, and Courtney will get it on our nuisance list. So, and those can be completely confidential. If you want to tell on your neighbor, nobody will know. So, just saying. So, yeah, I think that's it.
Very good. Block Watch.
We're going to plan to have a meeting in July. We're not going to have a June meeting, but I do want to bring up a few things we have discussed. When you hear that tornado siren, look for cover. A lot of people want to go outside and look for funnel clubs. Klaus, and most of the people who get hurt during a tornado is wanting to either film it on their phone or something. And it's all right to be a watcher, but find cover immediately. It might just be over the county, but it's better be safe than not safe.
Right.
And I also want to bring up, had a couple people told me they was nervous around their ATM machine. Be very careful if you see a stranger there. Get on your cell phone, call the sheriff, or get somebody around with you. And I've noticed a lot of people leaving their cars running as they run into the places. And that's an open invitation. Like if you run in there to get you a donut or something, you're just opening up the door. If you let that car run, and somebody's going to sit there and take a joyride in it. Just be careful, and we will meet with the Block Watch, and I'll set up a time for July.
Very good, thank you. We have no ordinances, resolutions, that runs us into roundtable. And if you guys don't care, I'm going to start it off with something Brandon said. Brandon's issue with people throwing grass in the street. That's his worry. My worry is that when you throw grass in the street and it rains, that becomes like ice to a motorcycle or to a bicycle, whether it be an adult or a child. Even on the sidewalk, wet grass can be very dangerous. So I'm asking everyone, when I appreciate the fact we're all out mowing, making the town look beautiful, but please be careful of the grass that you throw on the sidewalk or on the street. Next thing I'm going to ask you for is a motion to close Route 56, London Street, as you know it, Tuesday evening until Saturday night. For the festival, that will include a block on Main Street, and that will include the alley between Town Hall and the carpet shop. Reason being our festival. We're going to have a lot of people have signed up. I think it's going to be good for the community, for families to get out, enjoy some good fun with kids, because we've focused on children's. For instance, all the rides will be, I think, below
Like 12 and under?
12 and under. All the rides, because we're trying to focus on the kids, the young kids in town. And of course, the adults listen to some good music of an evening. So I need a motion to close those areas here in Mount Sterling.
Billy, real
Yes.
quick, you had said from Tuesday evening through Saturday night. My question is, the festival runs till tentatively 11 or 12 at midnight, Saturday night.
Yeah.
So it might take those rides longer to actually pack up and meet. So maybe it should be better till like Sunday morning.
Yeah, as soon as they get moved out, we could say Sunday morning, but as soon as they get moved out, we'll pick.
Open them.
We'll pull everything aside.
Okay.
If it's midnight or 1 o'clock in the morning, we'll make sure to get the highway back open.
Okay.
So I need a motion to do that, to you all to.
I'll give that motion.
Okay, second?
I'll second.
Thank you. A vote?
David?
Yes.
Mike?
Yes.
Marcy?
Yes.
Becky?
Yes.
Lowell?
Yes.
Craig?
Yes.
Thank you all.
Motion's passed.
Now, your turn,
Me?
round table.
I'm still working on the tornado information. Things have kind of changed. So as soon as, of what they're trying to gather and that sort of thing, they definitely need a lot of people to actually go and do the grunt work, but I don't know how to present that. But as soon as I get more information about what they're looking for in the way of donations, I'll get back.
Okay.
So like there was something else. I think that's it.
Your turn.
Oh, I'd like to say thank you to Jeff for coming and talking, and it's not easy to come when you know that things have already somewhat been decided or whatever, but we need more people like you to stand up and voice your opinion, and, there's always room for change.
I agree.
I have nothing.
I'd like to bring up, due to a scheduling problem, the Timmons Brothers Rock and Roll Trivia Show couldn't be at this year's festival, and we're going to try to make it next year. But the Timmons Brothers are going to provide some entertainment, though, on June 30th at 2:30. We're going to revisit Woodstock at the Library Room. Wear your headband if you want to, and 50 years ago, since they all got together on Jasper's Farm. Should be a lot of fun, but next year we're going to set up for the trivia show, and And I want to bring up that young man there. I've talked to him, and how like one comment he said, he said, every time I see you, Dave, you got a grin on your face. I said, I've been in this village a long time. I said, there's some days I don't feel like grinning, but we got to keep it going. I appreciate your output, young man. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you. Your turn. Anybody on the right?
Me?
All right.
Oh,
Huh?
of course, I always have something to say. I just want to reiterate the Summer Jam. And we hope that all the community will come out and support this event. As our mayor mentioned, there will be rides and food, and there'll be a beer garden, there'll be music all 3 nights. Madison Plain cheerleaders are going to perform on our front lawn. You've probably seen the newspaper. There's all kind of contests and stuff, and most of our prizes are chamber bucks, which just go to help the businesses in the town. You can redeem your prizes at their stores, so that's always good to,
Right.
help
Is
each other.
the baking contest going to be held in
The
here?
baking contest Saturday morning, or afternoon, is in here in the
Okay.
chamber.
Oh, you Betty Crockers.
Yeah, and they have 4
Cook up-
categories,
yeah,
so.
Cookies, pie, cake, and something.
Breads.
Bread.
So there's lots and lots going on, so I hope, everyone comes out and supports it, and again, just be safe.
Will the
with-
Pillsbury Doughboy be there?
I don't think so.
I don't know.
I don't think so.
No.
But, yes, and if I could say, Mr. Narwold, your comments are appreciated. And some of those comments you were referring to were probably made by myself, and I know you're a customer in my business, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate the fact that hopefully, like you said, we all can have differences of opinions and still get along and still, work together to better the community. But I was misspoken when I said there was a noise ordinance and it would be enforced. I have found out since then we may not have a noise ordinance. So that is something that I'm going to talk to council about. We're going to do some research, and whether it pertains to Hammer Time or not, we need one for residential and for commercial, things in our community. So, we will make sure that we look into that, and I am a big proponent of businesses in our community. I don't know that I exactly stated it, any business is a good business, because I do not believe that, but I believe most businesses that are, upstanding and stuff can help a community. So, and I'm hoping, because I did speak to the owner, and his words were, we're a family-friendly entity, and he wants to bring food in there and have tables, and if you want a beer with your dinner, just like at Applebee's, you can have it. If you don't, so I'm hoping that's what he said to me, and I'm hoping, that's what we see here, and it'll be good for our community if that passes. As Mr. Mayor said, that, it's something, appears to be going on the ballot now. I was unaware of that, but, but yeah, it's great when everyone has an opinion and they're all valid. So thank you.
And you can express that opinion November 6th? November 6th. Anybody else?
Question though on that. Do you know what we are voting for on this ballot with the liquor?
Do I know?
Does anybody know?
The liquor control will dictate what the ballot language will be. Would probably be, do you want liquor to be sold in this
Excuse me, sorry.
particular area? I don't know whether it's the south side, I don't know whether the village is divided up into, I don't know, whether it's 2 sides.
I thought it was
2
2,
precincts.
but when it comes to liquor permits, there's 4.
So
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that either.
I knew that, but
So
Had it went through at 27 North London, it would have automatically been put on the November ballot. So, and that was our concern. We thought somebody was trying to pull something, because, of course, the American Legion. And And they said, well, it wouldn't have proven anything. It would have been on the November ballot, whether it be at 27 North or 27 South London.
But
So-
we're not voting for the north precincts, let's say, to be dry or to be wet.
No.
And that's what's-
I believe everyone that lives in this precinct, I believe, I don't know this to be a fact, I'm just going on the vote before. Anyone that lives on the south side of Main Street will have a right to vote whether to permit a D5, which is liquor till 2:30 in the morning, will have the opportunity to vote if they want it at 27 South London Street. Now, I believe, I may
Let's
be
not-
corrected.
yeah, That's the reason we don't want to get too.
Right, I don't wanna-
involved in this
right.
Right now, because we don't
Right.
know, we're not liquor control.
Right,
It's very confusing, and we need to leave it alone until we know.
yes, I would rather leave it alone.
But I was
So-
just, but it's not, as we see it now, it's not to vote dry
No,
or wet.
no, it's the vote to allow a D5 permit. That's what the vote will be. Ready?
There are so many licenses out there, and some people own licenses,
Yes,
and they're not going to give them up.
right.
So that's always been a confusing thing. We were talking about, I did want to say this, we're talking about putting grass in the street. I've been on here a long time. It has been a continuous issue since day one. And I hope I live to see the day when it is finalized and you throw a leaf of grass in the street, there's somebody there to arrest you to take you to jail.
Well, hopefully we'll
No-
update our street
No,
sweeper.
hopefully about. You'll never accomplish it.
Hopefully we'll get a new street sweeper
Hey,
and
yeah.
I'll be out every week. What?
I just want to say a quick thank you. Mark sent down someone from his office and helped nuisance abatement greatly with some of our issues we have, and we have some new forms we're probably going to generate from it. But it was wonderful to hear from someone that does it every day. It made things a lot clearer, so thank you for that.
Very good.
And Jennifer from the health department.
Oh, yes. Jennifer from the Health Department
Really
gave us,
productive meeting.
Good, good.
Okay.
Everybody, we're adjourned. Thank you all very much. Is it hot in here?
yes, it's hot
Did we pay the electric bill?
for the air. We still have lights, so I think we did.
Yeah, I guess we did. We got lights.
I'll be there at 5 o'clock in the morning.
We're wasting our time.
I know, I know. I know.
That's gonna be interesting.
You're right.
I hope we can do what I'm hoping. I got enough papers, I'm ready.